Love it. Okay. Well, yeah, thanks, Brian. Appreciate you again being on with me. Wanted to first off get an introduction from you, kind of tell us, where you live, what you do, and kind of some background on your hunting experience and stuff like that. First off.
Yeah. Thanks for having me on, Ryan. It's nice to meet you. So my name's Brian Barney. I live in Ennis, Montana. So it's like a small town south of Bozeman. Moved here when I was 19, looking for more outdoor opportunities. I came from Washington State, is where I was born and raised. And so I moved out here and just immersed myself in the outdoors and slowly started to write about my adventures and started to find more success on do-it-yourself public land hunts and started sharing my success, my tactics that I was using, and guys really started to gravitate towards it and enjoy it. I had a common thread with them that I was doing it the same way that they were doing it, and I just kept going bigger year after year, bigger adventures, more extreme terrain, and throughout the years, I got more opportunities. Started the podcast, which we're in the 10th year of the podcast. Started filming my hunts probably like 8 or 10 years ago. And at first I thought, well, I do the coolest adventures, I'll make the best videos. And then I'd turn the camera on and forget how to talk into it. And so I had to kind of teach myself how to do that as well. And slowly but surely, I'm really proud of the videos we're putting out, really proud of the writing put out, and also the podcast. And I'm just really fortunate to get to live a life that I love to live.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, man. And I think for everyone listening, me and Brian were catching up before recording, but it's kind of a full circle moment for me, kind of talking with you. I've read all of your articles in Eastmans. I was talking to my mom last night. I was like, did you keep any of my magazines, after I left to college? And it's like, no, but there's a couple laying around. And I was like, send me the covers of them. And one of them was one of your high country mule deer hunts. It was, this is probably 2013, maybe even pre 2010s. And so, really been watching you for a long time, learned a lot from you. And I appreciate you being on here. Ennis, man, I gotta tell you, I love Ennis, the fly fishing capital of the world, as my family calls it. I see you get out every once in a while to catch some browns on the Madison and other places, huh?
Yeah, for sure. It's my other love. If you don't find me in the mountains, you'll find me on the rivers. And living in Ennis, not only do we have the Madison River right in front of us, but we have so many rivers, great rivers within an hour of my place. And then if you stretch it to 2 hours or 3 hours, it's almost endless, the exploring you can do. And great fly fishing and trophy brown trout and rainbows and cutthroats and things. And so that's how I spend my time when it's not hunting season, is fly fishing and chasing big browns on these streams. So yeah, it's a pretty fun endeavor, and I find a lot of correlations between fly fishing and hunting, and it is outside, it is an adventure and being on the water. So yeah, man, I love it. Sounds like you do too.
Yeah. I grew up with my family always. Every summer, it's the 24th of July in Utah is a holiday for everyone in Utah, like state companies. And so we would always go to Madison for a week around the 24th of July. And, so I grew up learning how to fish on the Madison, and then learning how to fly fish eventually on the Madison. And, like you said, like the Gallatin and all these different rivers around Ennis, like that's my dream, honestly, is Ennis, Montana. That's amazing. I love that. Yeah. Fly fishing really does, like you said, has a ton of correlation to not only hunting, but more specifically like bow hunting, just the strategic nature of fly fishing and placement, and always having a plan A, B, and C when things don't go right. I agree, totally agree. I love how you can translate those things into, being a better bow hunter, being a better hunter in general as well. So That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah, man, it's a great place to be. Like so many hatches and like so many fish, like high populations, and yeah, just a good chance to learn. Like there, it is high pressure river. There's a lot of guides that make a living on it, and so yeah, you really have to sharpen your skills to catch fish consistently. And the Madison or any of these rivers can kick your butt on any given day, kind of like the Elk Mountains or the Deer Mountains the same way. So yeah, it's definitely a fun way to spend the summers.
100%, 100%. I love that. Okay, well, yeah, want to dive in. So, kind of as we were talking about, what Wildeside Outdoors, as kind of this theme is we want to help people as they prepare for these hunts, specifically backcountry hunts. And there's kind of three tenets we talk about, and that's physical preparation, gear preparation, and scouting/e-scouting. And so kind of want to run through your approach to these three tenets. And so first want to talk about physical preparation, and for those that don't listen to your podcast, obviously you put a lot into preparing your body. But give us an overview of like your workout routine, and what you like to do and how that's adapted over the years as well. Because I know I've listened to you recently. Last week you talked with Preston Ward, kind of how things have changed for you. Kind of walk us through your routine on that type of scenario.
Well, I'm just getting in from a run with no shower, so I fitted in today, and it's a run on really sore legs because I did the Murph challenge yesterday. Was it yesterday? No, yesterday I grabbed 3 miles. Day before I did the Murph challenge with the 20-pound weight vest. So my hamstrings are still a little blown up. My lats are still a little blown up, my shoulders. But yeah, training's always been a huge part of my life. Like I love preparing for these hunts physically because they are so demanding in the mountains. And as I'm training physically, it also sharpens me mentally. The discipline of making myself get out day after day, the discipline of putting one leg in front of the other. And so, when I first started training, it was just like running kind of like I was doing wrestling, and I was putting in miles and started training and started out with a 5K, then a 10K, then a half marathon, then a marathon, and then some ultras. And what I found is like the pavement was tough on my joints and things. And really I found in the mountains, like key is like elevation, like climbing. And so I've kind of adapted to just primarily trail running in the mountains, like gaining elevation and not worrying so much about my miles, but my time on feet and my elevation more so than anything. So I am fortunate that I live in Ennis, Montana, which is a mountainous region. So I can be in the mountains, I can be in the canyons or the coulees in very little time and get in a good run. Like today I ran into a Blue Lake, which is a lake that sits by my house. It's probably about like 6 mile round trip, but it gains 1,250, 1,500 vertical feet and then down. And so really climbing that elevation has been key for me. And I used to run 7 days a week, and I think I almost was a little run strong. Like I always believe that legs and lungs kill bulls. Like to get your lungs in good shape, to have strong legs is what kill bulls. But I think I was like missing a little bit there. I was kind of like going through the motions and doing these runs, and they come easy to me because I like to run and I've been doing it for so long that it's habit. And kind of the missing link for me was just adding more strength. And so I've kind of started working in like these CrossFit style workouts, like the Mountain Tough workouts. And even before the Mountain Tough, it was strength training, upper body, doing a lot of body weight exercises, push-ups, pull-ups, dips, things of that nature. And now doing the Mountain Tough Fitness has been great, man. They have these programs on there where they stretch you out beforehand and afterwards, and they really target specific muscle types, and they really target specific muscle types that are like good for mountain hunting. And like what I was lacking running all the time was just like that upper body. Like I'd stick on a pack, and then I'd tweak my back because I'd have 40 pounds on and I'd go underneath a limb in an awkward position. And then all of a sudden I'd have a tweak that I'd have to hunt with. And I've totally eliminated that by like adding these layers of strength. So I'm actually running less, where I'm running about every other day, 4 days a week. And there are days that I do daily doubles where I do the CrossFit style or the Mountain Tough workout and I do a run. So I get those in a day or two a week. And I'm really trying to ramp up as I'm coming into season, as I really try to peak into season. But yeah, the bulk of my training now is trail running and then those Mountain Tough workouts. And really for me, it's just discipline, just day in, day out, putting in the work, trying to get my body prepared. And that goes hand in hand with my mind too. Like, it all starts and ends with your mind. And when you set your mind to something like doing a podcast like you're doing, or whatever the case is, it's just like you just find a way to get it in every day just to become a little bit better. And I don't think I become 1% physically better every day because I've been doing it for so many years, but even a 1/10% or 100th%, like those start stacking up 100 days in a row. All of a sudden I am 1% better or a couple percent better coming into this season. And as I age and get older, like mid 40s now, I think it's just that much more important to hunt the style and the way I want to hunt, which is all in everything I have. There is no mountain too tall. There is no hole too deep. If I see the bull in there that I want to go kill, I know that my body will carry me in there to go kill him, and I can also pack him out. So yeah, man, super important to me.
Love that. Love that. Yeah, no, that totally resonates with me. I think, those Mountain Tough workouts, I remember when they first came out with that was what, 2019, somewhere around there. And recently I was watching a video that they put out, and they were talking about how it's not like the workouts themselves, like you say, are very good for those muscle groups that you're working in the mountains and getting your lungs ready. But it's also like the mental toughness that it takes to go through some of those things. Like yesterday, so I usually do the 30-30 program, like 30 days, 30 minutes a day. I usually kind of do that once a day, and then I'll do a different cardio event, kind of like you do on if you do a double day. And gosh, man, they're hard sometimes, and that's what I love about it. Like you say, it's the consistency of just like doing a hard thing every day, so that when you're getting your butt kicked out on the mountain and you've missed or you have all these blown up stalks, you're not down in the dumps. You're like, okay, well, I can just go on, get more reps in. I'm going to go glass more, just having that mental fortitude, and just like, yeah, just callousing your mind almost to be able to have some sort of grit, and knowing that, like, previously I've gone through a tough thing and come out the other side, and that's going to make you a better hunter in the long term, because you can do that same thing, going forward on those hunts. So yeah, I love that. I agree 100%. Like, preparing yourself physically is so important, and legs and lungs, man. I agree totally. Love
Yeah,
that.
you nailed it, man. That's really good insight. Yeah, it's that grit, that tenacity. Like, I think that's the best asset a backcountry hunter can have is persistent. Like, you are gonna have hurdles, like you say, you're gonna have misses, you're gonna have letdowns, things are gonna go wrong. But if you're persistent, if you continue to be out there day after day and put in the effort, good things will happen. Like, you will earn an opportunity. And so yeah, I think as a backcountry hunter, it's my best attribute is that consistency, that persistence, that constant effort. And yeah, you don't just get to have that or will it into yourself, or you can will it into yourself, but it has to be done daily, like by doing these difficult things. And you're right, man, those tough outs or those workouts are tough. And they haven't made me quit yet, but boy, oh boy, they push me to that red line point where it starts crossing your mind, but then you cross the finish line and feel better and are better for it, and that just carries over to season, man. So yeah, you couldn't be more spot on, Ryan.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I love that. Well, yeah, I want to move on a little bit to gear, and want to kind of take an unconventional approach to it. I have a few questions in mind for you. First off, kind of how you think about like going into a season. How do you think about what gear do I need to upgrade? When do you say, okay, it's time to upgrade this or it's time to do that? Are you looking for products that are like, oh, that would help me save weight or make me perform better? Or are you like, okay, last year on this elk hunt, I slept terribly, so I need a new pad, or um, this broadhead didn't work as well as I wanted to, so I need to switch it up. Like, how do you approach that, going into a new season?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question. I think gear, well, like tell a quick story. Like when I was like 21 or 22, and I was working construction, didn't have a lot of extra money. And they used to, like, how we get gear back in the olden days was we'd get a Cabela's catalog in the mail, and you'd kind of flip through it, and they had like all the hunting gear in there, And so I picked out all these things that were going to make me better that I thought I needed in there. And I spent a lot of money to get this gear, and then I got it. And then I didn't have the extra money to have like the time off work. I didn't have the extra money to put gas in my rig or take the days. And I was like, man, I really messed up here. Like I bought all this nice gear and now I don't have the money to go hunting. And so I've always put emphasis on like time and the freedom to go. And you can tough out a lot of situations, and you can go out in your work clothes and go hunt. Is it the best and most efficient? No. Will it work? Yes. Yeah, you can use that backpack that you use for backpacking out there. Is it going to pack the weight the best? No. Is it? But you can make do with it. So like through toughness, you can really make gear work. But you're right in that when I look at gear, there is gear that keeps you more comfortable, that keeps you safe out there, that keeps you out there longer, that makes you more effective, more efficient. And so, nowadays my gear is pretty dialed. But as I look through, I think people, if they look at their gear and they just look where they can benefit the most by upgrading a piece or two per year. It's like you went hunting last year, so you obviously have all the gear you need to be able to go out hunting, but what would you benefit the most from? If your bow's getting 5, 6, 7 years old, you could probably benefit from one of the newer model bows, and maybe you can work some extra weekends, you can save a little money, and you can get that new technology in that bow. And once you go through 5 or 6 years, well, then you notice the difference in the technology. Or, if it's an arrow upgrade, or if it's you want to switch broadheads, like that's all stuff that you can do in this off season. And as far as gear, like I just look at my system. And for me, I either look at like what's going to make me more effective. If my tent leaked or if I didn't get good sleep because I didn't have a good pad, well, that's going to be number one on my list this year. And so I'll pick 1 or 2 gear items that I can upgrade that I'm going to see the most benefit in. And when you upgrade, it is like buy once, cry once. You look for that high quality gear that you're going to have for, like, I have gear I've been using for 20 years. Like you buy good stuff and it lasts and you get the benefit, and then you don't have to upgrade it 2 years down the road because you figured out that you bought a low end item. And so when I look at it, I look at effectiveness first. Like tent, if it leaked, yeah, I need to probably seam seal my tent, or I need to buy a new tent. Maybe this one isn't working right, or it's way heavy. Like nowadays when I'm upgrading something, it's usually due to weight. It's like, oh, my sleeping bag weighs 4 or 5 pounds. Will it get me through? Yes, but I can get a 0-degree bag or a 15-degree bag, which I use most of the time, and I can get that thing to around 2 pounds. I can save 3 pounds out of my pack. Like that's a huge benefit. That is on the top of my list this year to upgrade. And so I just kind of go through my gear that way and try to see where I'm going to get the most benefit out of it, whether that's clothing, whether that's backpacking gear, whether that's my archery equipment, and then try to budget for it. So then I still have money left to go hunting, to be able to take time off work. Because really the key to killing big animals is like having the time. And so I don't want to spend all my money or all my budgeted money for hunting season buying all this gear that I think is going to make me better. Because really, man, you can tough out a lot of situations, and grit and determination is what's going to get it done. So I'd look for like your best couple upgrades on gear.
I love that. Love that. Yeah, my wife hates to hear that. But I totally agree with that. It's, especially when it comes to like weapons, whether your gun or your bow, you know, I think it's not feasible to upgrade those, you know, every year for most people, you know. And so I totally agree. Like, you have to be just super smart about it. And like in life in general, like, you just have to be super smart about how you spend your money. And totally agree with that. Like, this year I invested, you know, a little bit into new boots, and because that's been one thing I've been needing for a long time, and you know, spent a chunk of money there. And I'm like, well, I don't need new gaiters, or I don't need, you know, a bunch of new wool socks or anything like that. And so I 100% agree with that. You just have to be smart with what you can do, and what you can spend on it, do it. And like you said, like, buy once, cry once. And so I totally appreciate that. I know tons of guys that just go out there and or go to an expo, and they're like, all right, I'm dropping $5,000 a day, new pack, new binoculars, you know. And it's not a sustainable you know, way to keep yourself prepared for the backcountry. So yeah, I totally sympathize with that. What do you think is what would be sort of your top gear items, you know, that you think are the most important to have dialed going into a hunt? You know, obviously, like you say, like, you can think about, you can survive off a Walmart sleeping pad or sleeping bag, but what are those kind of 3 top items that you think are like, these are the most important things that you could invest your money in, you know?
Yeah, I think definitely your weapon, your bow is like being dialed with it. Your bow, your arrows, your broadheads, like everything there. But just like you stated, like, you know, they make small improvements every year. And I'm really fortunate that I get to shoot the new bows every year. And this bow is my favorite bow I've ever shot. But really, I don't know that any of us shoot good enough to tell the difference. And you build a relationship with a bow or with a rifle. Like, I remember when I used to hunt with a rifle, my .6, I shot that better than any other rifle on the planet. And I finally did upgrade it to like this 300 Winchester short mag or whatever. I don't think I shot it as good as I shot that .6 because I knew the holdover, the Kentucky windage, I just shot that rifle. I just knew it inside and out. Same thing with a bow. It's like, man, you build a relationship with them, and you can put new strings on it. You can go back through, you can retune it. And really, I think these relationships with the weapons can last 5, 6, 7 years, and you're still going to shoot that 7-year-old bow better than you're going to shoot the new one, just because you built such a relationship. So I do think that's like really important, is to be dialed with your weapon, your arrows, your broadhead, spend time with it, know it inside and out. You know, and I'd say next would be like your clothing. Like, man, that's your first layer of defense to be able to keep out there. And you can survive a lot when you figure out your layering system. You know, and I just have mine dialed. I've got a sun hoodie, I've got a thicker weight hoodie, I've got a vest, and then I've got my puffy jacket and my rain jacket. And on my bottom layers, you know, it's depending on whether it's early season or late season, but I've got my pants that got my vent in it that are like a mid-season pant. I've got long johns, both a lightweight pair, heavier pair, and I've got my puffy pants. I don't like rain pants. I don't usually wear those. I instead opt for like gaiters and a rain jacket, and then tucking underneath a tree or in my tent if I'm really getting rained on. If it's raining that hard, I can't really glass or hunt anyways. So like, I think your weapon, I think next would be like your gear, your clothing, to make sure that's all dialed in. And then like last one, and I'd probably pick like your optics to be dialed with those. And, you know, there's a bunch of great mid-range optics. And I know I said buy once, cry once, and I like looking through good glass. And I used to always say, like, I don't have snowmobiles or four-wheelers. And now as I get older, I do like have a few toys or whatever. But in the same breath, it was like, I like looking through glass, and I like looking for animals. And so I would, you know, prioritize that and spend some better money on glass. But once you buy it, I have it. Like, I still have the glass that I bought 25 years ago with my little construction job that I could barely afford, and got, you know, this sick pair of binos and a spotting scope. And so like, I'd have your optic system dialed. I love the new image stabilizing binos. They're amazing. Like, they pop, there's like, I spot more game with those than I do even the high-end optics. In fact, I've gotten rid of like the high-end binos that I bought 25 years ago, or I've got rid of some of these high-end binos that I've gotten throughout the years being in the hunting industry, because these image stabilizing SIGs are such a game changer. But, you know, I'm dialed on my optics kit. I've got my spotting scope. I've got my 12 by 42s in my chest rig. And really, that's about all I need to hunt. I did add like some 16s for big country, or sometimes I can ditch the scope and have the 16s in the pack using like those image stabilizer 16 by 50s, the new Gen 3s. And so I think your optics kit along with that would be like your rangefinder to get true readings on light and dark targets, to be able to angle compensate, powerful laser to shoot through grass, to really know it inside and out. And I think if you have like those 3 items totally dialed, like, man, you're pretty deadly in the mountains and you can survive about anything out there. And, you know, you got to have your backpacking stuff dialed as well, but you can also day hunt out of your truck. You can cover more miles in the dark to get to these back places. In fact, a lot of my hunts are like day hunting or truck camping, you know. So I would say those 3 items would be the most important to me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, 100%. Love that. Those image stabilizing binos, and now they have spotter from SIG, or game changing. I tried to pair out probably 2 weeks ago, and they're pretty slick, not gonna lie. I'm really been liking those. And it's funny, you know, you don't usually like clothing. You know, a lot of people will say like, oh, your pack, you know, I hear all these guys on YouTube like say your pack and your boots are the most important, but you think about everything you're exposed to, like you said, in these backcountry environments. Really, your clothing is like so important. I'll tell you a story. So I drew a mountain goat hunt in Utah, 2018-ish, and I probably spent 35 days scouting for this hunt, you know, leading up to the season. And it was archery tag, so it started in August. And July, you know, I probably almost got fired from my job. I probably had all D's in my summer classes that year because I was still in college. But you know, I spent so much time scouting, and I vividly remember one scouting trip. I'm 5 or 6 miles deep, you know, and mountain goat country is no joke. You know, I'm probably about 12,000 feet, you know, 6 or 8 miles away from my truck, and I'm thinking, oh, it's like pretty sunny. And man, this thunderstorm rolls in, and it was just chaos, you know, hell, thunder, and there's no trees to hide under. And I was thinking, oh yeah, it's just going to be sunny all day like it is, you know, in July. And I'm in a t-shirt, I have a little tiny jacket, and I'm in jeans, you know, hiking up this mountain, and I just got soaked to the bone. I get back to my truck, and I was thinking, you know, I had hypothermia, and that's when I was like, okay, I got to take this a little bit more seriously, because of the seriousness of there are real threats to like your health, well-being, and like life in the backcountry. And so completely agree with that. Like clothing, like you said, is your first layer of defense, and you have to make sure that you're not putting yourself in this vulnerable position to where you may not come home. You know, you might not come home to your kids or your spouse or any of your loved ones. And so, yeah, I love that. I completely agree with that.
I think we've all made that mistake and like had to learn from it, you know. And yeah, fishing's another good one. Like when you go on a drift, you always bring your jacket, because it may look bright and like a bluebird day, but man, those storms can roll in quick. And especially like such an extreme hunt like a mountain goat hunt. But yeah, it looks nice when you take off and not too worried about it. But yeah, once you get drenched, things change. And you're right, like you have your safety directly in the decisions that you make back there. And so, yeah, having the right gear can protect you, keep you warm, and keep you safe and bring you back. So yeah, I think that's definitely like an important element. But there's so many important elements. It's like, boots too, like you upgraded this year, are so important. Gosh, there's nothing like a blister on your foot or something, or boots that don't fit you right. Like, you feel that blister every single step, and you may be taking 30,000 or 40,000 steps a day. And that can also get dangerous with infections and things of that nature too. So, I mean, boots are important, packs important, tent and sleeping bags important. So it's tough to choose the top three, but those would be the top three that I think I can get by and survive on, and still come home and tag a trophy, So I think those would be my top three. But yeah, it is like a important a pillar, like in backcountry hunting, like you were talking about, physical preparation, and then also your gear. It's just such a major pillar, is to make sure that your gear is dialed, and you tend to like learn something about it each and every season, something that you can improve or something that could be better. And really, like, experience is the best teacher with all this stuff. Just like that Bluebird day that you headed up and got soaking wet, I bet you'll never do that again where you don't bring the right gear. Like, you learned your lesson that day, and you'll be better from it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And that's, it's so if anyone's listening, like, learn from my experience. They always say learning from other people is better than experiencing those bad things for yourself. So yeah, no, I totally agree. That those summer scouting trips can get interesting, as obviously hunting trips can as well. But on that same vein, like, I wanted to kind of get your viewpoint on scouting. How do you approach scouting for high country mule deer? Kind of walk us through that. Like, are you e-scouting, or are you trying to get as much time with boots on the ground as possible? And obviously there's time constraints. Like, how do you approach that going into a season?
Man, it's a tough balance for sure. It seems like I used to have more time for summer scouting, and it is important to me, especially on high country deer, because where they are in the summertime is where they'll be during season, and they're easier to scout with their red coats. And I think, like, I gained a ton of experience scouting. It's like more days of field, and you're pretty much going through all the motions of a hunt. You're just not sneaking in and trying to arrow them, but you're trying to locate them. You're getting your wood sense about you, is like you're camping and covering miles. And so I think it's like one of the best ways to prepare. But yeah, nowadays, like, so many responsibilities and so many hunts that I'm preparing for, that I haven't been out scouting yet, really, to speak of. I'm trying to think if I've been out to the mountains. I mean, other than trail running, I ran a little spot that I want to elk hunt the other day, where I went in there quite a few miles and found some elk. And so that maybe counts, like, kind of getting familiar with country. But, I kind of like, we only have so many vacation days, and I would almost rather spend those days on the hunt with my bow in my hand trying to kill that animal. Now, I do have scouting days planned for a high country muley hunt. It's a unit I've never been this year, but it's 12 hours away from my house. So if I start figuring in 12 hours of driving down there, 12 hours of driving back, that already burns 2 days. And then, takes me a couple, 2-3 days to get into country and cover country and get a feel for it. So a 5-day scouting trip, or taking a week off in the summer right now, as I'm trying to get my work done and responsibilities so I can disappear during hunting season, it's not that feasible, or at least it's difficult for me. And so, I've been doing it long enough where I do get a really good feel for the unit by e-scouting. I've hunted multiple species in multiple different units, and it's kind of like tough to describe to people, because I can just see what looks bucky to me. I kind of look for zones of pressure. So any trailhead I'm going to circle, and, I'm not going to hunt within a 2-mile radius of any trailheads. Are there animals there? Maybe. But, that's also where the pressure is going to be. And it's not likely that an older class animal is going to live in there. Also, I'll draw lines around any roads, a mile from any road. I'm not even looking at that terrain. So I can start to find, like, zones of pressure where the pressure is going to come from, and where the animals are going to be pressured to. And then I start to look for, like, just bucky terrain or just elky terrain. And I kind of look for like green food sources, bold basins, and I look for a little bit of cover for these muleys. And in really e-scouting, like I can't e-scout a place, like even with all my experience, I can't e-scout a place and go, there's going to be bucks there. All I do is like I circle these areas that are likely spots for bucks. And so I circle these areas that are likely spots for bucks, and then I'll mark vantage points where it's going to show off that country where I can glass it. So then I have like this hunt plan, and then I like to tie those places together, like maybe with the main ridge line. So, okay, I've got this drainage that looks like a likely spot for muleys. I have this spot that I'm going to glass it from, and it connects to this ridge where then I can look at this basin that I'm going to glass it from and this basin. And now all of a sudden I've got a 3 to 5 day rip planned into country with a bunch of likely spots that I'm going to find bucks. Now I need to go in there. I need to get boots to ground, eyes to the hillside, and go figure out which one of those drainages those bucks are in. And same thing with elk. Like elk, it's about being mobile. And even the best elk spot in the world doesn't have elk in it all the time. They may be there for a week out of season. And so I'm finding likely spots that I'm going to stay mobile. I'm going to go rip in, and I know I can be in there at the right time at that morning light. I'm either going to hear bugles or see elk or see sign of them. And if I don't see that, then I'm out of there and I'm into the next drainage. And so like scouting is really important. It does give you days of field. It does give you a feel for your unit. A lot of the places that I'm hunting, you know, I've hunted before, so I kind of have been there in September or been there during the season when it's the best time to scout. And then what I'll do is I'll expand my knowledge of that unit by looking at places I haven't gone, or like I'll find a spot where I found deer and say they're on a south face on sparse cover. Well, then what I can do is I can transpose that spot. It's like, okay, it looks like this. It faces this way. What else in the unit looks like this? Oh, this looks real similar. Oh, like I can get in here and look at this spot. So now I'm going to circle that spot. And even though I've hunted this unit and I know this basin is good, now I got another spot to go check out and go look for them. So that's kind of how I expand my knowledge. And for this early country, high country deer hunt, it's a good unit and it's a place I've never been. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show up early to the hunt. The same thing I did on my high country mule deer hunt last year. So I'm going to show up, you know, 4 days early on it, you know, and I'm fortunate where I've got extra time. So now I'm taking that 12 hours driving down. I'm actually using it to acclimate my body to that high elevation country. I'm getting miles under my belt and I'm looking for bucks before the season opens. And it's just 4 or 5 days away, the season when it opens. So when I find a buck, I know he's going to be right in that area. So that's how I'm kind of scouting this year and then returning to a bunch of spots I've been. So I do think scouting is really important, and there's nothing that replaces boots to ground, but it's like I have enough experience where I can almost like I can live on my feet, like see it in real time, spend my days hunting, and then when I find it, I can chase it with my bow. And so I do believe scouting's important, but I just run out of time in summer trying to get my work done and family time, and then I save my days for being in the field. So that's kind of how I run my program that works well for me.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. I think a lot of areas I've hunted as well, it's kind of that same mentality where like I would scout these areas in, you know, early July, even late July, and then I come back, you know, 2 days before the season and I'm like, these bucks are gone. You know, they've gone to other places. Where in this situation, even though like you would love to put boots on the ground, you're almost benefiting in a sense to like you're going a few days before, compacting all your time off to be able to get down there. And like you said, like if you see something, if you see, you know, a buck that you want to go after, he's likely going to be there, you know, in 2 or 3 days. Where if you were to like make the trip down, waste a week of vacation to go see that, you know, that unit in July, like it's you know, it makes more sense to kind of go about it the way you're talking about. And I think for me, like you said, with elk, sometimes I know in some units, you know, elk stay in the same spots, but elk are so nomadic sometimes where, you know, you can hunt them 1 year in one spot and you're like, oh, they would never leave this spot in this nasty bowl where there's no pressure at all. And then next year you go in, same time, same everything, and they're completely different areas, and so I agree, like, and kind of in the same vein, you think you have to have so many backup plans on top of, like, if they're not there, where am I going? And like you say, like, you have this thought of, like, keeping all of those, those plans connected. If the mountain, if this ridge connects this basin and this basin, you're kind of just going through country, um, checking all these areas because you don't know where they'll be. So yeah, totally agree with that. I think sometimes people get into an area and they're like, oh, there's no bucks in this basin, like, I'm going to go drive around the entire unit and go to a different mountain range, where it's like they could just be one basin over, two basins over, kind of keep going with that. And um, you have a lot of experience into, like, like what looks bucky, what looks good. And if you just keep going, you're like, you'll eventually be able to find deer, just keeping with it and finding those good topography areas for sure. So I love that. Love that. Sorry, just looking at my notes here. Just want to make sure I hit everything.
No worries, man. You're doing great.
I mean, so kind of, I want to reverse, kind of talk about last year. Like, you shot a great buck in the high country. You shot a great bull. I think in a previous episode you were saying it's one of your best bulls, right? He was, yeah, he was nice. I mean, talk us through, like, how, because well, I guess we could talk about the mule deer hunt first. Like, you spent 11 days, you said, door to door. Like, how do you keep almost that positive mental mindset as you're out there, thinking, like, oh, this may or may not happen? How do you keep that mindset to just keep going after, like, 11 days of hunting? I feel like a lot of guys kind of get beat down. They've been away from their families a long time. What's kind of your go-to method to just keep going on those types of hunts that are kind of grueling, just grinded out hunts?
Yeah, it's a great question. Yeah, it's like this positive mental attitude of, like, always my next move that I'm gonna make. And it is tough once it starts to get to those longer durations. I'm really effective, or everybody's really effective, in a couple days, or a 3-day rip, or a 5-day rip. But yeah, when the days start to drag on, there starts to be self-doubt. And I think I have such self-belief, and been doing it long enough where I found success on the last hour of the last day so many times. Like, I know, I believe in all the work that I put in and all this preparation. So all those trail runs, all those workouts, I'm always thinking about, arrowing that giant buck in the high country, and believing that I can do it. And I've put all this work and effort into it. And now I finally got the time to cut my legs loose and go stalk these bucks in the mountains. Like, man, I really want to leave it all out there. Like, everything I have, leave it on the mountain, and put absolute my best effort into it. And so I keep believing in it. And then I believe in the skill sets that I've worked hard, that I just need a sliver of an opportunity. I just need to find a buck in the right spot. Like, I can make it happen. I just need to draw back, bend these limbs back and get a shot. And I know, like, I'm a really good shot with a bow. I know I can put a perfect arrow in a muley. And then, I've been on so many tough hunts over the years. I mean, hunts for my moose, like a few years ago, it was like 30 days of hunting to kill that moose with my bow. And I had a black bear season that I put in 50 days. And it's like, they weren't all 50 whole days in a row, but it was, I get a lot of time, like, after work, like evenings, and it was 50 days in a bear season to arrow a black bear on the very last day of the season that was a giant black bear. So it's like, I've been on these tough hunts before, and I know it can come together, and all I need is a sliver of opportunity. So I keep believing in myself, and I keep believing it's going to happen. And sometimes, it's like, maybe it won't come together, but in my mind, like, it's always going to come together in the end. I believe I'm going to get an opportunity. I believe I've worked really hard at my bow hunting skill set and all these things you're talking about. I've worked really hard on my gear, on my physical preparation, on my mental preparation, on my e-scouting. I've worked hard, like over 30 years of bow hunting, to hone my instincts to make the right moves at the right times. I've worked hard at my shooting and being able to execute under intense amounts of adrenaline, like when I want that animal really bad, like I know I can do it. And so I just keep putting forth the effort until it comes together. And if I get to my final day and it didn't come together, like I can rest easy and know that I put out maximum effort. And I run a pretty good success rate on trophy animals, but I don't run 100%. I have had failures before, and that pushes me to be better. But I know, like, putting that maximum effort in, it will pay off. And even if it doesn't pay off on that hunt, the next hunt I am, like, it'll pay off. Like, I'll hit a lucky streak and I will kill a bull or I will kill a buck. And there's been seasons where I don't kill an early season buck, but then I keep putting forth the effort, and then I kill a nice bull, and then I kill a late season buck in the years of success. So, like, I just I have this self-belief in myself, and then I just feel like I've worked way too hard to give in early. And I've given up early before, like younger in my hunting career. You know, I've gone home early where I still have 2-3 days, and I just like, man, I had the time off. And the minute you get to your truck, the minute you get home, all you can think about is being back in that mountain. And like, I didn't give it everything I had. I had more. I could have gone and checked out some more drainages, and that'll eat me alive. So I just know that I have to do everything in my power for the days I have allotted, even add a day or 2 or 3 if I have to, and just try to give myself a chance at greatness. And like, a lot of times, like, it pans out for me.
Yeah, totally resonates with me. I think like having that confidence that just give me a chance, you just universe conspire with me, give me one chance. I put in the reps. I've physically prepared myself. I'm going to be mentally tough to get on that stalk and wait 3 or 4 or 5 hours for that buck to stand up. And yeah, I totally resonate with that. I think like if you've put in the work prior to the hunt, you just have to have confidence that you can make it happen and not have that quit in you for sure. So what do you feel like is the biggest thing you learned last year from these hunting experiences?
Oh man, that's a great one. I think what I learned last year is I think there's more to give. I think there's no ceiling to what I can achieve. Do it yourself public land hunting, like I think there's big trophy class animals out there, and if I continue to work hard at my craft of bow hunting and work hard at my craft of archery skill set, like all those things we've talked about, like I can set my sights pretty high and I can accomplish it. Like I let some bucks go last year in the late season that a lot of years I would have arrowed and been really happy with. And last year I kept to my guns, and it was like, I'm going to find a big deer and I'm going to get narrow in him, even if I got to come back and make another trip. And last year was really magic for me. Every year it seems like I stream together a really good archery season. And last year was like a dream season. I think I started off and put down my best antelope to date. He was just under 80 inches. I haven't killed an 80-incher yet. He went 78. And then I killed that early season mule deer. And he was a big, heavy 3-point bladed and old deer, like just a great buck. I was really happy with it. He went 174 as a 3-point, which was a great buck for me. And then strung out a great elk season. I killed a great 6-point, another state, and that film will be coming out shortly. And I just made like this epic 3-hour play of cat and mouse on this bull that I never let him know I was hunting him. And finally, at last light, he worked into me and put a perfect arrow into him. Went on to another elk hunt. I said, I've killed a bull this year. I don't need to kill another one, but I'm going to give it my all, and I'm going to hunt for a giant. And I had 14 days worth of stuff packed up, and went to check out a new spot I had e-scouted. And this is a unit I've hunted multiple times, but I've never been to this spot. And turned up a giant 7-7 bull and made the right moves. I was patient, man. I saw him on the edge of the timber at one point. I think this film comes out Saturday. It might be next Saturday. I'm not sure. It's probably out by the time your podcast release. But this bull, basically, I chased him all morning long, and then he bedded in like this thin group of trees, and then I saw him middle of the day and he was bugling. I made a play and I had him at 30 yards bedded in front of me, and his cow walked out broadside. I could have shot her 10 times over, and he walked that way and then he turned around before he got there, and he maybe went through one shooting lane, but I never gave myself away. I had a great win, kind of followed him into the thick cedars, and I thought, I don't feel good about this. It's too thick. There's too many elk in here. I'm going to blow him. And I backed back out to the vantage point, just patient, just wait for the right opportunity. He's going to come feed out in a park tonight, and I'm going to kill him. And that's exactly what happened. As he fed out into a park, made a play on him, and put a good arrow in that bull and killed my best bull to date. Killed a great late season buck that, you know, I hunted 20 days for that late season buck across 2 different states. And finally, in big mountains, deep snow, bitter cold, like I arrowed a great heavy horned late season buck with a big extra, like a great buck that I was really happy with. So really last year was a dream season, but it just reminds me that there is no ceiling, that I can set my goals even higher and I can achieve them. And if I continue to work hard at my craft, which I have this whole off season, I am better now than I was last season. I'm in better shape, the best shape of my life. I'm shooting my bow better because of all the reps I put in all winter long of shooting indoor and shooting outdoor and really working on the super tune of my bow, really getting my arrows dialed in, like just messing with everything, fletchings and the helical fletch to get the right drag that controls broadheads but also doesn't wind drift too far, and just all this testing and all this shooting. And just got back from a trip in Hawaii where I shot really well and executed great shots. So I'm really firing off all cylinders. I've got some great tags in my pocket and like can't wait to cut loose this year. And I just keep reminding myself it's not going to be as easy as it was last year. Like I had some good lucky breaks last year and arrowed some great critters. You know, I might have to grind this year. I will have to grind this year. So just preparing myself mentally. But dude, I can't wait. It's like the ultimate test of all this work that I put in, and we're right like on the doorstep of it. And I've got some great hunts and couldn't be more excited to see what I'm made of here.
100%. Yeah, it's, kind of going back to your bull, the famous Brian Barney quote, patience kills the buck, and it's I get that. Like you just have to be patient and always, keep that grind alive no matter what. So yeah, it sounds like you have a great season coming up. And I saw that post about, your Hawaii trip. Do you guys go to Molokai or do you guys hunt on Maui? Which island do you guys hunt when you're there?
Yeah, I hunt Maui and Lanai.
Nice. Love that. Yeah.
I got some really good friends out there. So it's just a dream trip out there. They've got some great bow hunting opportunity, and those guys really help with logistics, and they're just great bow hunters themselves. And so they're pretty dialed in, and I've been able to learn from them throughout the years how to hunt that place out there. So yeah, it was my flight got canceled. My bow didn't show up. It was like everything that could go wrong did, and it was, I just kept the right mindset. Like, man, when that thing does show up, I'm going to give it hell. So I was talking to Alaska Air and talking to, what was the other airline that they switched me to? Talking to airlines, trying to figure out, my bags were finally in Seattle. They had to fly them to 2 different islands, but when they got there, it was like a went out and hunted hard and made the most of it and made some things happen. But yeah, it was a dream trip, just a bunch of great hunting action. So yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, gosh, yeah, that really is a dream trip. Like, seems like such an adventure and in such a pristine area. Like, I haven't been yet, but like, I can't wait to do that one day. So love that. Yeah, man, it's knocking on our doorstep. It's August 5th, and we're getting ready. I'm excited. Ramping up, training, getting things dialed, and shooting broadheads now. Throwing out the filled tips and throwing on broadheads. So it's exciting. I'm excited. I have.
What do you got this year, Ryan?
So my brother has a pretty good limited entry archery deer tag here in Utah. So majority of my time, I think I'm spending about 9 or 10 days out there with him. So that'll be fun just to, he's been with me on every single hunting trip that I've been on. It was finally his luck of the draw this year. So that'll be a good hunt
That's
here.
amazing, man. Limited entry in Utah. Yeah, what a great opportunity.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's soak it in, and it gives you a chance to learn too and help. And that's like being a good hunting partner as well with your brother. Like if you want a good hunting partner, you also have to be a good hunting partner. So good for you, like taking the time and trying to help him out. And yeah, he's got a chance at a real giant in there, especially limited entry, man. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah, yeah, and it's 100%. It's you have to kind of reciprocate that. What you give is what you're going to get. Um, it's an area that we've hunted before. When I was 17, 18, I drew that tag as a youth and shot a 175 buck there. And then a couple years ago, I had the elk tag, limited entry elk tag, in that same unit, and so we really know the unit good. And there's a lot of bucks. There's a lot of just like solid, like that 160 to 165 class buck, but then there's a couple bangers just walking around that are pushing 185, 190, and this will be his first archery buck, and so I really want to get him on something big to kind of set his sights for the future. So yeah, we have that. And then I have a general archery deer tag here in Utah. I got out a couple weeks ago. The unit's only a couple hours away from my house, and it's a fun unit I've hunted before as well. And I found a really cool buck that is kind of my target buck. Has a couple cheaters on one side, has an inline fifth on the other side with a couple other cheaters. So yeah, it should be a fun early season hunt.
Sounds like a bomber buck. Good on you, man. Yeah, that's an awesome buck to have located. Yeah, now you just have to dream and drool over him. But you do like August 15th opener, right? So you got 10 days and you'll be able to chase him, or you'll probably hunt your brother's hunt first, or how are you going to do that?
Yeah, so we're gonna hunt my brother's hunt first, and then we'll see what I can manage. I'm gonna try and finagle a few things here and there with work and the family, but hopefully get out. Second weekend. Hopefully there's not too much pressure. It's about 3.5 miles in. On a general season unit in Utah, you usually don't see too many people hiking in that far. So I'm hoping there's not too much pressure to have blown him out. But yeah, so it should be fun. I'm hoping. Yeah, I think Utah opens August 16th or something like that this year. So we'll be down there, 22nd, 23rd ish. So yeah, it should be fun. And then we have Colorado first season elk tag. So that'll be fun. This is our first year at Colorado. I've put in for points for Colorado for years, and this is kind of our first time kind of drawing a tag out in Colorado. So excited for that. My brother's the only one that drew the elk tag. I picked up a bear tag. We have a friend that has hunted that unit before. He said it's kind of overrun with bears. He shot a bear last time he was there on the first season elk hunt. So maybe we'll run into a big brute in there. But yeah, that's kind of what we got on our plate, and a couple, hopefully a few runs on the river in the fall. I love fall fishing, especially when those browns are spawning. So that's kind of what my fall's looking like. So I'm excited to get here, excited for some cooler weather, and yeah, should be good. But
yeah, right on, man. Good mix of deer and elk, and hunting a bunch with your brother. Jealous on the fishing days. I don't get many fishing days in the fall. I got to kind of get my fix in the spring and summer. But yeah, good on you, man. Sounds like you got a full season and a bunch of adventures planned. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So it should be good. But anyways, yeah, I appreciate you, Brian, and thanks for hopping on, and good luck this season. Hopefully things pan out. I hope you have a better season this year than you do even last year. I know you said it's going to be hard to top, but if anyone can do it, it's you. So yeah, good luck this season, man.
Yeah, thanks a bunch, man. I appreciate it. I'm going to go have some fun anyways. So yeah, thanks for having me on the podcast. I appreciate it. Yeah, keep in touch, reach out anytime, and yeah, go have some fun.
Okay, love it. Thanks, Brian. Appreciate you.